Hey fellow tennis nerds, I hope all is well. The Wimbledon draw is out for 2022. This video deals with the men's section. I'm going to try to dissect the women's section as well, which is a little bit more complicated because it's a little bit more open in my opinion, and I also know a little bit less about WTA Tour, but I try to keep my eye on both tours and I will try to break that down as well, and I'm keen to hear your opinions. Put them in the comments below. Big thanks to the sponsor of this video, Fuzzy Yellow Balls. This singles playbook is a great way to learn tactics, find ideas how to beat certain opponents like pushers, certain volleyers, baseliners, and you have videos and accompanying examples here. So it's a great deal. I bought it a year ago, used it for my own tennis, and now you can get it. Just use the link in the description below. Now that's out of the way, let's dive into the draw, and we'll do it quarter by quarter, starting with the first quarter. That's on the top half of the draw. Novak Djokovic is there. First round, Son Won Kwon. Should be pretty easy win, I think. We haven't seen anything of Novak this year. He's not been playing any warm-up events, and we haven't seen much of his tennis because of the vaccine situation in Australia. And he played the French Open. He did win Rome, but it's hard to gauge how good his tennis is in 2022. But he will be the favorite. He's won Wimbledon many times, and he's obviously very strong and comfortable on grass. That's why he can come there straight away without the warm-up, I think. So he is my favorite to win the title, but we'll get into the hottest contenders, and it's still with an asterisk because I'm not sure at all about how his form will be, but he's usually good at just arriving and playing top-level tennis. But second round, potentially Kokkinakis. That's a tough opponent. Fun to see Kokkinakis after all his injuries being able to play a bit more actively. Otherwise, not that many threats. Basilashvili is not super hot on grass. Can play amazing tennis if he's in good shape, but you know, the grass is not his thing. Lucas Rosol, you remember him when he beat Rafa Nadal. He's in the draw. If he goes all in on every shot like he sometimes does, he can be a threat to some people, for sure. He's definitely a little bit of a danger icon, but I don't think he should beat Djokovic. Tim van Rijthoven, who won in Rosmalen, Hertogenbosch, he is there. He's a dangerous player, loves the grass, great one-handed backhand, good serve. Will be fun to watch him. I think we should keep our eyes on van Rijthoven, and he has a pretty good first draw in a Grand Slam. Delbonis is not the most comfortable grass court player. Some players here you can definitely see them more on the clay. We have Riley Opelka on this quarter. The thing with Opelka that you should keep in mind is that despite his serve being such a huge weapon, he does use the kick a lot. He's not that comfortable on grass and confident because if you look at his grass court record, it's not the best. So it's not as dangerous as you would think in this draw, and that's why I don't really put him as any threat to beat any top seeds there, in my opinion here. Jannik Sinner, Stan Wawrinka is maybe the hottest match on paper. Stan is not a grass court player. Sinner, bit of a question mark on grass, but I think Sinner is going to win that one. Stan at Wimbledon, they haven't been the best combination, and obviously with his injuries, it's going to be tough. Then we have Murray, another guy who comes back from injury. He can go far. He played really well at the Boss Open, but then had some injury issues, and the question is he fine for this tournament? If he's fine, he's a dangerous threat in this draw, and something even for Djokovic to reckon with. But if he's not 100%, it will be tough because it's 5 sets. So yeah, we'll see. But he's definitely someone you have to look out for. Another big server, John Isner, a bit more comfortable on grass. Something to also look out for. So 2 big servers in this draw. Another big server, actually 3, Oscar Otte, who's very good on grass, is my favorite to go to the quarterfinals. A little bit on out there pick, but he impressed me at the Boss Open, and he's had good runs at Wimbledon before. So definitely a player to watch on grass, especially. Other guys, Fognini doesn't really do much on the grass. Alcaraz, how is he gonna play? He had elbow issues before, and he's definitely a stronger player on clay and hard courts, but he has the massive talent to convert that to grass. But I think it takes longer on grass to bring your game the way you play to this surface with all the low bounces and reliance on serve, and his serve is not as strong as the rest of his game. So I don't predict him to go to the quarterfinals. I don't think he will lose to Struff, although Struff is a dangerous player, but he also has a tendency to choke a bit. So I think he will lose on the way, maybe to Otte. Alcaraz. But yeah, will be fun to see him at, I think, his first Wimbledon, to see how he can compete there. So that's the first quarter. I would say we're gonna see Otte Djokovic on this quarterfinal and not Alcaraz Djokovic, although that would be a great match to watch. Second quarter looks like a clay court section. When you look at it at first, a lot of clay court players, Ramos Vinolas, Casper Ruud playing the first round, Sebastian Baez. Taro Daniel is a little bit more of a clay court player as well. Frances Tiafoe, dangerous player in this side of the draw, very good on grass, loves that stuff, did well last year at Wimbledon. Cameron Norrie hasn't had as much of a year as he had last year, but he's always dangerous and he plays well on grass, so a little bit of an exclamation mark around him. Ryan Peniston, unfortunate name, from Great Britain, has impressed on the lead up to Wimbledon, so should also have a little bit of a warning sign next to him. Dimitrov, you never know. I mean, plays elegant tennis. I love watching Dimitrov, but you never know what's going to happen with him. He might be on a great streak and he might lose first round. So depends a little bit on his mental state, I think. We have Tommy Paul, is a good grass court player, can definitely beat some players here. But the big name in this draw is Hubert Hurkacz, who has a title and definitely very good on grass courts. So Hurkacz and Tiafoe is my quarter-final couple from this side of the draw. Manarino maybe we should mention as well, because he loves the grass and has won tournaments there and can be dangerous. In the third quarter, big name Matteo Berrettini, my favorite to reach the final still this year. He did that last year. He's won 2 tournaments leading up, and I made a video about him being the current king of grass, but that might all change at Wimbledon when Djokovic is playing, of course. But he should be a clear threat. He loves the surface and he plays well on it. His slice becomes even more dangerous. His serve is big and his forehand is the hammer, right? So he's going to be tough. So Shapovalov has not played well, lost first round in Mallorca, was testing his V-Core 95, the old racket he used to use before he switched to E-Zone. That's not a great sign of confidence when you start meddling with your rackets. He's had good results there before and managed to play well, but I would be a little bit doubtful around his form. A guy who is in form for sure is Bautista Agut. I think he can be a threat in this part of the draw. And he played really well at Mallorca. He reached the final, lost in the end in a final set tiebreak to Tsitsipas, who's also in this draw. And of course, we should not forget Nick Kyrgios. Some players think he might win with Wimbledon. I still think he's a little bit too much up and down. Despite putting in the focus, the effort, he's playing really well this year and has had good results. A very consistent mood for his game, but still, will he manage to go far at this Wimbledon? I don't really think he has what it takes to go to the quarters here. I might be wrong. He had some injury hiccup in Mallorca, but he seems to be training already. Still, can he do it? I don't know. I would say Tsitsipas and Berrettini from this section, but with obviously an asterisk around Kyrgios, who will be the strongest player, except for them. Fourth quarter, this is where Rafa Nadal is on the bottom of the draw. He is playing. How is his foot? Seems to be fairly okay. Practiced in Mallorca, went to London, practiced there, and he seems to be fine. So he's going to be a threat as well, of course. He's won 2 Grand Slams already. Might want to win all 4, make an historical feat. Will be difficult. I think that this is the least chance for him to win a Grand Slam. The Wimbledon is the toughest, even if he's won it a few times, but still it's going to be tough with his game. Auger-Aliassime at the top has a really tough first round match in Maxime Cressy. Cressy reached the final in Eastbourne, just lost that to Taylor Fritz. So that's a tough one with his serve and volley style. Auger-Aliassime needs to be very crafty to win that match. I think he will, maybe 5 sets, but because Auger-Aliassime has improved quite a lot under the tutelage of Tony Nadal, we'll see how far he can go. There are a few really strong players here. Jack Sock will be interesting to watch. He's back soon in the top 100 again, so he's fighting his way back up the rankings with some challenger wins. Taylor Fritz beat Cressy in Eastbourne. He should be a guy you should look out for. Big serve, very solid from the back of the court. Cilic looked great in the French Open, so he's also going to be dangerous at Wimbledon. Reached the final, lost to Federer some years back. Sonego, another good player here on grass that I was impressed by when I watched him at the Boss Open. So this side of the draw is pretty strong. I would say that Rafa's first match against Cerundolo, he's going to win, but this guy can hit a big ball. So if you haven't seen Francisco Cerundolo play, he's actually more impressive to me than the brother, although the brother already has an ATP title. But I think Francisco is the one who can be a threat to really big players. So who's gonna go through here? I would still pick the safe bets here. I would say Rafa and Auger-Aliassime. If Aliassime's biggest threat, I think, is in the first round. If he gets going, I think he will be fine. I could pick as the outside one Taylor Fritz more than Cilic, for example, or Holger Rune. I'm skeptical about. Dan Evans, obviously a strong player, but I don't see him going to the quarters. So yeah, Aliassime for me, and Nadal. Nadal will get stronger the more matches he wins, so the biggest upset alert would be early rounds, maybe the first one. But even Sam Querrey, I don't think is going to have a huge chance to beat Nadal. So I think he's pretty safe. Will we see Nadal and Aliassime in the quarterfinal of this section? I think so. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. Alright, so if we look at what this leaves us, we go to the quarterfinals. We see Djokovic versus Otte, Tiafoe versus Hurkacz, Berrettini versus Tsitsipas, Aliassime versus Nadal. And I think Djokovic will beat Otte. That's not really going out on a limb. I think Hurkacz will beat Tiafoe and Berrettini will beat Tsitsipas. Nadal should get through. Aliassime will be interesting for Uncle Tony because he's coaching Aliassime and his nephew is obviously Rafa Nadal. So that will be a weird match for him to watch. I think he needs to exit the stands maybe. Then we have Djokovic versus Hurkacz and Berrettini versus Nadal semi-finals. That Djokovic beats Hurkacz is not a huge shock, but I think Berrettini can beat Nadal even in a semi-final. I know Nadal gets better as the tournament progresses, but Berrettini's play on grass is very impressive, and I think he has too many weapons for Rafa to catch up. So I would say that there is another Berrettini-Djokovic final where I think Djokovic will win. Would love to see Berrettini win a Grand Slam. I like watching him play, seems like a super nice guy, but Djokovic in a final on grass I think is too strong. So that's my pick. There's nothing really fancy about those. They're pretty safe bets in most cases. Sometimes in Wimbledon you have these huge upsets, but often you get like the people who are confident on grass because it's such a unique surface where you need to adapt your game. So I think that's why we're seeing a lot of players do well over and over again. That's all for this prediction on the men's event. I will try to make more updates around the Wimbledon as the results come in, and there will be more on tennisnerd.net, Twitter, and my other social media channel, Instagram, and so on. So make sure to follow Tennis Nerd there. And then we'll get into the women's draw in my next video. But we start here with the men's. So who do you think will win? What do you think about my predictions? Let me know in the comments below. That is all. Have a nice day, and don't forget to play some tennis.